Hi, in this lesson, you will learn how to read characters from a file. A file is often organized into lines of characters to make it easier to read and process the information it contains. Characters within a line can be letters, numbers, symbols, or any other printable characters. They are arranged in a specific sequence to represent meaningful information. For example, in a text file, lines of characters can form sentences, paragraphs, or even code instructions. When a file is opened or read by a program or software, it can process the characters in a line one by one or treat the entire file as a single unit. Let's learn how to read characters from the file. The first step is to store the name of the file we want to read into a variable. That way, we can more easily access it later. For example, if I had a file called data.txt, I could store it as a string in a variable called input file name. Before you can read or write a file, you have to open it using Python's built-in open function. The first parameter of the open function is the file name. The file name argument is a string value that contains the name of the file that you want to access. We can also pass the variable we created, input file name, which is storing a string of the file we want to access. The second parameter of the open function is the access mode. This is an optional parameter, and the default file access mode is read. So if we do not include this parameter, it will automatically read the file we've entered. The open function returns an opened file object that we need to store in a variable. Let's name the variable inFile. Great, we opened the file called data.txt. To perform reading operations on it, we use the inFile variable. Next, you read the file. In this lesson, we will focus on the first method called read. Read X reads X number of characters from the file and returns them as a string. In this case, we are using the value 3. Since it is a method, we need to use dot notation to call this method on a variable. If you do not pass an integer to the read method, it reads the entire file as a string. When we are done reading the file, we need to properly close the file. This is done using the close method. Closing a file will free up the resources that were tied with the file. Exiting without closing a file that was opened for writing may cause some of the output to not be written to the disk file. So this will become important as we continue to learn more about file I/O. Let's dive in and see an example of this.